Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil, and the girls are all here. We did not advertise her, so it's a surprise. Surprise! Yolanda Starks White joining Aprilette and I. Aprilette Russell, how are you?
I'm good. Today is Friday Eve. Today is Aprylete Day. I have Yolanda here. I'm with you. So I'm good.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Sybil.
How
Go ahead.
how was your New Year?
My New Year was, for me, it was good. I rested and I caught up on sleep and I slumbered. Everything that you could I did all I did all of those things. New Year for me honestly was another day, but it was good because I was able to get some rest and I enjoyed every bit of it.
Did you see Midnight?
In my unconscious, but I did not see midnight, not at all.
Okay. That wasn't the plan.
No, mm-mm, no.
I'm surprised you're not a watch night person.
What is a watch night? What is that?
Church.
Oh, okay. So okay. Y'all want me to go there with it, but no. Normally, that is what I do. I go to church. However, this year some things have changed. And I did not attend church. I did start the service off, but baby, I got in that tub. I made me a bubble bath, and by time I did not make it. Yeah, I was good and under the sheets, honey.
That's great.
Wow.
What
That's
did
great.
y'all do?
Well, Yolanda and Ward and I were supposed to go to dinner. I wasn't feeling well, but I did need to go to church, so they came by and picked me up after they did dinner, and brought me some delicious soup. And
Ooh.
then we went to church, and then but we didn't see midnight. We left out because the guns and the fireworks were going off, and Yolanda was concerned about the dogs, and so we went and saw midnight at their house, and then I went home.
Well, that's good. You bought it in with some love.
Yeah,
I
it
know it was
was. Yeah, I
love.
was gonna say it was lovely.
Yeah.
It was nice, and so it was. But we did spend the three of us were together on Christmas night.
That's right.
We all went to see The
Oh
Color
yes.
Purple together, and that
That
was
was
very
good.
nice.
That was something special, and I just want to thank you guys because that was, for me, that was a piece of I know this movie. A lot of people are saying like sisterhood and all of that, but for me, with this group, it's like it was just, I guess I could say sisterhood. Like it felt really good. I'm like, okay, I'm really in the gang now. I'm like, okay, this is more than a little Thursday. This is my tribe. Yeah, you took it outside of the screen to the other big screen. Like this is my tribe right here. So it felt really good. So I appreciate y'all. It
And
was
I was so happy to see you. And Sybil, what you don't know is I gave Aprilette an out to tell her that
good.
I know you're driving from out of town, and it's just a ticket. If it turns out that it's too much for you, do
Because
what's best for you.
leading up to that, she's like, "Ooh, this is far."
Right.
And y'all know me, I do not like to drive. That
What
is
it took you about 30 minutes?
Yeah, and it wasn't as bad because when I put it in my GPS at first, oh baby, it said about 50 minutes, but I'm guessing it was like traffic time. But since this was Christmas,
Oh,
It
yeah.
was
Yeah,
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 Christmas
yeah.
Day. It was different.
yes, it took down
Yeah.
my travel time. I said, oh, okay, I can handle this. But no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have taken that out for nothing in the world. So I'm so happy. It was so good. It was so good.
It was really good, and it was good to see. And it's really weird to see people in person because I was coming in from the airport, and I was standing there, and I was looking to see and asking if the ticket was left for me and stuff. And people are kind of waving, and I'm looking behind me, going, I don't. And Aprilette was standing there with other women in the group, and it's really weird to see Aprilette not just in the box. No,
It's
but
me in the flesh, baby.
yeah, yeah, no, no, it was a lot of fun, and it was good to see it with that group of people. It really was,
Yeah, it was
and
nice.
it was an interesting age range too.
It
Something that maybe
was.
we'll talk about at another time. But it was like Yolanda's nieces, all the way to her mom,
Mm-hmm.
and her mom's like 22, 23 years old. So that was a nice range there. So it was really good. So that was our Christmas day, and then we talked about New Year. So I hope everyone is back in the swing of things. I too am feeling some fatigue, but it's I get to like the hour before the show is supposed to start, and then I just get really sleepy.
Mm,
Yeah, me too.
And
that's
when we were
dangerous.
on break, I was able to take a nap, but
Yeah.
now, I really got to push through it and
Yep.
or get a cup of coffee. And I didn't even do that today. I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to, drink
Power
some
through.
water and just power through. Right.
Okay.
Exactly right. We are here to talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter that we write with the assistance of the young contributors. Aprylete Russell is our mental health and wellness contributor, and she is writing in today's newsletter about Tennessee legislators who are considering a new bill that seeks to expand the scope of threats mental health professionals are obligated to report to the authority. So if they receive threats, they have to report these threats, and it would make sense. But apparently, it's opening up the type
Yeah.
of threats that they're receiving. Is that correct?
Yes. So currently, the law mandates that the professionals report threats that are made by patients against a specific person or individual. Now, this new law that is being proposed, it seeks to expand the requirements reporting threats not just to individuals, but to groups, whether that is a daycare, a religious institution, families dealing with mental health challenges, or anything like that. And so this marks a big shift in what is going to be reported. Because again, like I said before, it was just to specific individuals, to like a person. If a therapist sits down with a patient and they say, hey, I want to harm so and so boo boo from down the street, then you have to report it. Now it's going to be if it's against groups, a religious group, a daycare. And I think that that is so important, and that's a game changer. And right, and I'm kind of confused on why was that not a bill or a law before, because there's so
Mm.
many mass shootings. There's so
Mm,
many things that are
Mm.
affecting us, and they like to link it back to mental illness and mental health. So this could be a game changer. In that, so this right here is in Tennessee, and additionally, there's going to be another part of the bill where providers, their liability. So if they're going to be liable or not if a situation happens. So in this bill, there's going to have some mention of the liability damages, because right now there underneath the current law, there is no mention of the liability. So now that will be spelled out. And so with this being in Tennessee, this is just going to mirror what's happening in Alabama. And so in Alabama and North Carolina, there is something called the duty to warn law. And
mm.
that is where mental health professionals have to let the law enforcement know, like a duty to warn them that this was being said. And so this is a little bit different than that because it expands it. So this is going to happen in Tennessee, and now other states are looking to adopt this same law.
Is this in the aftermath of what's happening between the Israelis and Palestinians? So, like, if there is a threat against
Mhm.
Jewish people
Oh.
or a threat against the Palestinian related people, is this in result as a result of this? Do you
That's a
know?
that's a beautiful question that I do not know the answer to, but I would love to dig deeper when this bill was actually, I guess, created, because you have to get it signed and everything, and that takes
Yeah,
a
yeah,
process.
yeah.
So, according to the article that I read, one of the behavioral health specialists, he said that he is very confident that the bill will be passed this month. So I'm
Mm.
thinking that the bill has already been, just talked about and written up and kind of signed over maybe months prior. So I don't know if this is exactly in correlate to that, but I mean, it would definitely help for sure.
Right, right. I would think so too.
Mhm.
Very interesting though.
So,
Um,
April, do you know if there's a consequence if they do not report?
Oh no, I do. Look, I mean, y'all hitting me with the good questions tonight. That I
Okay.
definitely, that I definitely, I'm like, I need to dig a little deeper, because I am not for sure what that looks like, the consequences if they don't. But since in the bill now they do have that liability clause, that will probably explain a little bit more. And so
Right.
yeah, I wasn't able to look
That's
at.
what stuck out in my head when you said the liability clause. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, and that space to be in when you think about it. I kind of wonder why haven't a lot of other states adopted this, and why is this just mirrored as something in Alabama? And so when you think about Tennessee, Alabama, I'm thinking kind of like southern states.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I wonder if it's something different in the north. So this is definitely something to kind of like dig deep into and see what that means for the rest of the 50 states.
So, and I wonder to what avail, because I have a personal experience
Mm.
where I have someone who is schizophrenic, and I went with her relative to go to court to try to get some help because she threatened the whole family in text.
Mm.
And the judge said it was nothing, that it was nothing they could do, that there was not sufficient enough evidence to pick her up.
So a written threat via text
It
is
was
not enough.
Yes.
Interesting. And
yes.
so now, if that happened in Tennessee with this bill being
right,
passed,
right,
that would be something under that bill, under that law, that you would
right.
have to
And
make
what?
more.
But the question is, because I am an advocate for those people, for the people who are challenged
Mentally
with
ill.
mental
Mhm.
illness,
Mhm.
and to what? Okay, let's say it is reported. What to do? I know you don't know this,
Right,
but I am curious. What's the steps after that? Because if it's reported, I don't think that we have enough. Our system is really set up to support people with mental illness. So it's reported, and then what? Because even the case here, let's say that they would have picked this person up in our situation. If they picked her up, they would hold her for 14 days, and then what?
And then what? It's
But that's a whole thing. Sorry, Sybil.
No, but isn't that the same thing in domestic situations when you file and ask for an order of protection against, if you're in a domestic situation, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and they bring harm to you, and you file an order of protection, and then they, you have paperwork there, but what does that do? Because oftentimes, and more recently than not, I'm seeing stories that are very disturbing, that these orders of protection have been filed. The police know, and the people ignore that and still go ahead and do the awful deeds that are done.
Right. Unless we're actually having the individual, like when you say being held, Yogi, like if it's involuntary or things like that nature. And I know that you have to report it. In the bill, it said report it to law enforcement or to behavioral health liaisons. But again, like you said, like what does that look like, and what's the scope of that, and what makes it where they can be held involuntary? Because when they're an adult, you don't have to. You don't have to be in, coerced with getting held. So that's very interesting. And it's just like you said, we don't have enough. The system is all messed up. There's not a lot of things in place. So what's next steps? So it's always something. It's always something, like trying to get on a good foot, but everything else behind it is real wonky.
Well, Yolanda, we do know people in state government. Perhaps this is the time for a bill like that to be initiated, or for a state bill, or maybe for a federal bill. I don't know, and I don't know, Aprylete, if there is one on the federal level.
So, but this is going down a rabbit hole. But the case today with that young man, I think he was in Los Angeles, where the judge was going to sentence him to additional time in jail, and
Vegas. I have that
Vegas.
Story. Yeah.
Well, he jumped across.
He jumped across into where the judge was
it is something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Clearly.
He leaked like
he was promising, I'm gonna do better. And then just.
So people are saying that you thought you were going to be detained. You're going to really be detained. But is detention
the answer?
Does it help? What do you do? I don't have the answer, so I'm not complaining.
Professionals, if we're just detaining and throwing, how is that?
How are you addressing the mental state of these people?
Exactly. And a lot of, I know this is again down the rabbit hole, but a lot of states don't even have mental health court systems. So when something happens, they can't even be tried in a mental health court. They're being tried in a criminal court with everyone
Right.
else. So
Right.
problem within itself, and then mentally ill, locked behind bars. Where's the help coming from? So
Right.
I hate to move along beyond this because I think that this could generate a lot more discussion and ideas. But this particular newsletter is so chock full of great stuff. I need to mention and have people, if you have not opened your newsletter for today, please take a look at it. Cameron Riley, who is another one of our youngins and political contributor, talks about this young Black woman. Her name is Barbara Furlow Smiles, formerly known for her role as the global diversity strategist at Facebook. She has just pled guilty to wire fraud charges, admitting to embezzling over $4 million from the tech giant. And she did this in a way to pay for education and pay her credit
Sybil,
card bills.
Sybil, maybe the first 100,000. Maybe a couple of 100,000. Come on now.
I'm not her judge, and I'm not pleading her case.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what it is.
Okay.
Embezzling over $4 million.
Okay.
She played a significant role in Facebook's diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives from 2017 to 2021. They said she exploited her position to divert funds through fictitious vendors and false charges, resulting in substantial cash kickbacks. It extended to various personal associates, including friends, relatives, former interns, nannies, and a university tutor. Payments were made for non-existent goods and services, with a portion being redirected back to her. So she cleaned up, not only paying for a lot of stuff, but she got some money back. And this included allocating $10,000 to an artist for specialty portraits, using over $18,000 for preschool tuition, disguised as company expenses, and then payment to platforms like PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App, using her Facebook credit cards.
I don't know why I'm smiling so hard.
I don't either, because this is so disturbing. And the fact is, here we have these great positions and we use them not for good, but
nobody else use them for good, Sybil.
Thank you, Aprylete.
They don't?
No.
No,
it happens all the time.
I'm smiling because it's just like,
but that doesn't make it right.
No, we didn't say it was right.
It's not right,
We
but
said it was right. But it happens.
But it makes you smile?
Well, so when I first heard about this story, I just assumed that it wasn't us. I mean, it never would have dawned on me
it was
that
a Black woman, right?
And then when I saw it, so, well, this ain't right. I ain't right. You should take me out. But I was like, all right, girlfriend figured that out.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to change our express yourself question for the day, because I need some people to tell me, because you two smiling about this.
No, it's not. No.
All right.
No,
go
you're
ahead.
wrong. I admit I'm wrong.
It's not like a root on and she was right for her actions. I think that my smile was like, kind of like, okay, girlfriend figured it out, because this isn't a one-off.
Figure it out,
though.
Yes, she got caught, but it's like this isn't a one-off situation. Like, this has happened for years with big companies. Like, baby.
Okay, so they get caught too.
Not all the time.
Well, she certainly did. And
she facing charges clearly, but
right. So what's the charges? And
she's
bagging them. Does she have to pay the money back?
She's going to be sentenced in Atlanta next month, I believe.
Okay. I mean, so was who did something kind of like this? What's her name? Martha Stewart.
Well, there was a young man who just with the Jacksonville Jaguars exploited them for millions of dollars,
right?
And blamed it on a gambling addiction, and I mean millions, and using the company credit card. We can't.
Well, we're not saying that it's right. No, it's not right.
I'm going to take a.
I know
the
time.
Turn.
I know the time.
Read this.
Aprylete, you need a real man that takes care of you and shows you the world, beauty. Hassan Bambada says that. Do we know Mr. Bambada?
No, I'm just saying, see, and then you wouldn't have to do that, Aprylete. Since you don't have that, I don't know what.
I don't have that either, but I know that it's and I can't do that with our company.
No, you can't. No, it's not going to work here, Aprylete. You're gonna be real mad.
Look. I am not saying that the girl was right. She in her mind, she was just like reparations. Okay, she was just getting.
Reparations from what?
I'm just telling you. How old was she?
She was young. She looked really young.
But what difference does it make? She could be 20 or she could be 200 years old.
I was trying to
wrong is wrong.
I was trying to put you in the mindset. Wrong is wrong. You were
Wrong is wrong.
To Cameron's credit, he does not include her age, but she looks to be a young woman.
Okay.
So what if she got away with it? Oh, it still would have been wrong. You're right. Never mind. Move on, Sybil.
No.
You got more stories to go.
No. We've run out of time.
Okay.
But I do want to ask people, please go to our to SybilWilkes.com to subscribe to the newsletter. Get in on the discussion because we're moving on to this discussion. I just scratched the question that I had. And we'd love to have you be a part of the What You Need to Know news crew. We will have the email the newsletter in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. Join us Monday through Thursday evening here at YouTube and Facebook Live to discuss the stories and with some of the contributors who are here to talk about the stories they've written and that they have discovered and brought to your attention. And so that is it. And also, it's still a good time to give a subscription as a gift to someone, and also as a cautionary tale to somebody who might be doing wrong. So,
where my man and Hassan? Bring him back on the screen.
So, okay, I'm going to tell you, Hassan is 36, rich and good looking. Hassan, I'm gonna need your picture to not be Urkel.
Okay, right.
I'm just stepping in for my girl Aprylete. I can't trust, just like I can't trust this young woman now to come and work for our company. I can't trust your picture.
No, she can come work for our company, but she's gonna be mad. It is not gonna work out the same way. Not even close.
So let me ask you guys, do you want to talk about this question and continue the discussion and rah-rah for her? Or here's one where a woman has been disinvited from her best friend's wedding after she told the bride that the groom was too good for her and that he was hers first. So here's the story. These two were best friends for a very long period of time. And friend A, we'll call her Yolanda, was dating this guy. Okay, we'll call her Aprylete.
Okay.
Aprylete was dating a guy for a very long time.
People to tune in, they're gonna think this is a real story. Let's call her Sybil.
We'll call her friend A. Okay. We'll call her friend A. And she had a past relationship with a guy. And friend B came along and she thought that they had, there wasn't much discussion about their relationship. They had broken up, and she and friend B and the guy started dating. And so they became closer and closer. And finally, they got engaged. And her friend A became quite distraught and would tell everybody who would listen, well, he was mine first. And every time the discussion came up, it's like, I dated him first. And it was one of those situations. And so she said that they were practically raised together. They drifted apart in recent years. And that's when she didn't know about the extent of the relationship with this guy. And so the now fiance, Jake, has proposed to friend B. And, she thought everything was good. She said, even though I was her best friend, I didn't really know Jake because she used to get asked out a lot and blah, blah, blah. And nobody said anything. Jake didn't say, I used to hit it with friend A. And friend A, she didn't say anything until they became engaged. And so a few years later, after they dated, they got engaged. And she said that they had an engagement party. And she told everyone there, I had him first. And so they said that there, starting to be some animosity and, people's nerves were starting to be frayed because every time you turn around, she would talk about it. And she wasn't really encouraging them to get married, saying she was too young and blah, blah, blah. So finally she said, look, I know I asked you to be my maid of honor with my sister, I'm telling you now, you're uninvited to the wedding. So the question on Reddit was she wrong? She asked the people of Reddit, the fiance girl, said, was I wrong to disinvite my best friend
Mhm.
to the wedding? But do you date your friends' exes if even if you drifted apart and stuff? For me, there's always been a rule regarding dating your
Yeah,
ex.
it's the code. Like we don't double in, dip in what was once yours.
Right.
So this whole story sounds very messy. From the dating, from dating the friend's ex to the ex not saying that, hey, I dated your friend. Like everything wasn't disclosed in the beginning. So
Hmm.
now that it's so heightened now to the wedding, it is what it is. I don't feel like she's wrong for necessarily not inviting, well, kicking her out of the wedding because the girl talked too much. Like you're doing too much talking. Do you want the man or not? But from the beginning, I think that there was like a lot of miscommunication. There wasn't a lot of talking about it. And at the end of the day, there should have been some type of kumbaya. If you're my best friend, now you're my man. If y'all dated before, there should be some type of, they didn't have like no kickbacks together, like no, Christmas.
Apparently not.
That's
Apparently
weird.
not. Which
That's weird to me.
Yeah,
yeah.
this is
Like
weird.
my
This is
best
a weird
friend would know
story.
my man, and my man, you know what I'm saying? Like that would
Yeah.
be strange. So now
But
all of
why
a
would she even
sudden,
invite her to be in the wedding party
yeah.
if the girl was
Because
saying
she had
that she was?
already, yeah, right. She had already,
Yeah.
started that. Well, I had him first kind of conversation.
Yeah.
And she thought, I guess naively thought that, it wouldn't be so bad.
No. Once
But
it's bad, it's bad. A bad apple ain't never gonna turn good. So
Well, I'm not a contrarian, but I do think different than a lot of people.
yes,
I
you
don't
do.
see anything wrong if she was done with her. Why not? If he was a good dude, and just because y'all didn't work out, why not? Why not let your friend have him? So you go to the next. I don't have a problem with that because I have dated some great men, and I love my girlfriend so much that you know what?
you
You
would pass them
should
on.
100%. You
Right.
should experience that goodness.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pass
why not?
them on then.
Because when I'm done, I'm done. Sybil,
Look at Sybil. And
you
I'm gonna say
telling me,
Sybil is your best friend. So
okay, the
Well,
school
we don't have the same
the
taste
school
in
teacher
men.
in
First,
the school teacher in Miami,
I introduced you to.
I know,
Right.
but he was fine. Oh my God, Aprylete, he was so fine.
He
But
was
not only
beautiful.
was he
He was
fine,
beautiful. He
he
was
was
beautiful.
beautiful,
He
he
was, he,
was smart,
and he was a
he was
really nice
and he
guy. He
was
was
a
a really
good
good
guy.
dude. Yeah.
Why
mhm.
wouldn't I want my friends to be with a guy like that?
I gotta make sure my damn Wi-Fi is on.
Is it warm in here?
That was funny, Aprylette. That was but no, really. Why? If I was done with him because he was actually boring for me, so he just
Mhm.
wasn't for me.
You have,
Why?
and you're saying you have other boring girlfriends he would have been better for.
Well, no. He might not have been boring for them, but why not allow them a chance or an opportunity? He was a great guy.
Okay, but you are, let's say you're exception to the rule because you wouldn't be the girlfriend like, oh, I had him first. I had him.
Right, right.
You're exception to the rule.
That's the thing where everybody who came around, she said, I dated him first. I had him first. He was mine first.
Well,
Mhm.
how do we know Sybil just didn't say I introduced them and that was code for
I had him
Trust and
first.
believe. Sybil. No, no.
and you know what I would have said? Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, lovely.
Girl. Woo! Anyway.
Or would you like to go back to the philandering cheater woman from Facebook? Which question would you like to answer? Would you? I'm asking the people. Which
Oh,
do you want to talk
Oh,
about the woman who
embezzled money.
embezzled from Facebook, or do you want to talk about the girlfriends and the girlfriend not being invited to being disinvited from participating in the wedding?
okay. It's a lot of different stuff.
Okay, all
Um,
right, cool.
let's see. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I thought I put something up there.
Antonio Wu Tang Vivace. Very messy. Sounds like no boundaries on Facebook. Is no Brenda Brooks Perry on YouTube. There's a jealousy and a possessive factor on the part of girlfriend A, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Pamela Sullivan on Facebook. I'm with you, Yolanda.
And it's a lot of that, Sybil.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just telling you about the code that I grew up with. Regina Glover. Nope. I don't want my friends dating my ex. Okay, Regina.
So why isn't that, Sybil? You agree with that? You don't want your friends dating your ex? Why
No,
not?
I don't know that I don't. I don't know that I agree with it. It's just the way things were. It was just.
Okay.
It was just
Like the code, like you just don't do that.
Just don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you just don't.
Or as my daddy used to say, you don't have your honey where you make your money. That's just the rule of, not dating people where you work or whatever it is. And
but men do that all the time. Like I've noticed that men do a lot of kind of like dating in the same circle, or even like a lot of cultures, like it, a lot. When we watch all those friend series, all of the friends dated. Like, everybody done had like one friend or the other, like in most of those TV sitcoms, like all of the friends have kind of like tried out each one of the friend before. So maybe that
they need to expand their friend.
Wow, yeah, wait, hold on.
I don't know what they do in St. Louis, but where I come from.
Like, wow.
But no, y'all have never heard of like or never seen a TV sitcom where all of the friends kind of like dated before?
No,
dated each other?
Yes. I feel like I've watched TV shows where like high school friends in friend groups, like, oh, I've dated Jack and Jack likes Amy now. So now Jack and Amy are together.
I've seen that on TV. Yeah.
Was that Riverdale? What is
I think that's them. I think we are a little more possessive than that. I think they.
I never saw that on Living Single. I know.
Yeah, right.
No, that is true. That has never. Okay, so maybe again a cultural thing. Maybe it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that they really care.
Right. Yeah. Right. I don't either. Yeah.
And I've seen that in the TV shows where they have swinging and families and
So it might be a cultural thing.
No, definitely.
Okay, you went too far, Sybil, but okay.
No, okay, never mind.
Pineapples outside the house. Okay. I'm just saying, y'all. There's pineapples outside. Beware, unless you like that. Stop. If you like it, go.
Okay. With the pineapples.
Oh Lord. I'm gonna need an adult beverage when we come off of this.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Tim Williams on Facebook. An ex is not someone you just dated. An ex is a relationship.
Okay.
And that's different. Yeah, Dad's Go Clothing on YouTube. Men do it because they don't have the emotional connections that we have. And I believe that too. I believe until you get to the marriage that Mary J on Facebook, no recycling. The only recycling I do is plastic and electronics and stuff like that. You're right. No recycling.
And cardboard. If the man is boring, like Yogi said, then cardboard. You recycle cardboard. Boring. Next.
But he might not be boring to other people.
That's true, because hopefully he did end up with someone to whom he was not boring.
He did. He got with somebody afterwards, and they've been married for a long time now. It's beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And you too. So that's great. Not too wild for your husband, the way you may have been for the fella before. Right.
Whoa, look at the time.
I am looking at the time.
Y'all are clowning on this Friday Eve. The girls.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. Let's move to trending topics, shall we?
Yes.
This has been a violent day, another school shooting, and what makes this one different is that this happened in Iowa, where all of the Republicans are campaigning for the Iowa caucus that's going to take place next Monday. And so it took place Thursday morning, 7:30 in the morning, the first day of school after Christmas vacation. The suspect has been identified as the 17-year-old Dylan Butler, was a student at Perry High School. Perry High School is about 40 miles outside of Des Moines. Opened fire around 7:37 a.m. A new video of the suspect in the shooting shows him standing in what is presumed to be a bathroom at the school the morning of the shooting on TikTok. The Associated Press reported that a sixth grader also was killed. The schools were connected. The middle school and the high school schools were connected, and so a sixth grader was killed. The high school principal was severely injured, and they believe that Dylan Butler killed himself, and a couple of other people were wounded. Among those, as I mentioned, the school principal of over 25 years, and it was just a very sad situation. One thing that we did not talk about I don't know if we talked about this Tuesday as much, but we lost a giant in politics over the weekend. Eddie Bernice Johnson, the 30-plus year Congresswoman from Dallas, passed away at the age of 89. Now, the son of Congresswoman Johnson is preparing to file a lawsuit against Baylor, Scott, and White, claiming the hospital's treatment of his mother led to her death.
Oh, no.
A letter from Kirk Johnson's lawyer was sent to Baylor, Scott, and White Health System and the Baylor, Scott, and White Institute last week. And the letter from the attorney notified the hospital that they intend to file a lawsuit claiming medical negligence in the Congresswoman's death in late December. In a notice sent to the media, the law firm said that Johnson had back surgery at the hospital in September of 2023. Her son claims that while visiting his mother following her surgery, she was found lying in her own excrement, according to his legal team. And during a news conference today, he was asked about his mother's condition, and he said it was deplorable. She was being unattended to. She was screaming out in pain. And that is just not the way you want to see your parent. I don't care if they're a congresswoman or a cleaning lady. You don't want to see them like that.
But that is why, Sybil, 100%, you have to have an advocate.
Right.
You cannot go to the doctor, especially the hospital, by yourself. You have to have an advocate.
Somebody who's going to be there at all times so that they're not going to allow this to happen. Yeah.
100%. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson was just the third Texas woman elected to represent the state in the U.S. House, won re-election 15 times before retiring a year ago, January. And she passed away, as I said, Sunday at the age of 89. That's just an awful way to go out. But it's like you said, you just have to have an advocate, no matter what, in the medical system to make sure
well, because they are understaffed. They are understaffed. They have a whole lot going on. And, you have to be there to advocate for your loved one. Sybil, do not let me go to the hospital by myself.
No.
I don't care what you got going on in your little life. You got to figure that out. You cannot.
Stop the curse.
Stop. Right.
Wow, that's awful.
It is awful. We were talking about dating and relationships not too long ago, just a few minutes ago. The first Sunday in January is the busiest day of the year in dating, according to Tinder. Many people know Tinder is a dating app. You swipe or you swipe right or left if you want to. Have you ever participated in Tinder, Aprylete? Okay. Your mom and daddy must be watching. Okay, this Sunday, January 7th, they say 519 Tinder bios are expected to be edited with 2,263 photos added every minute.
That's wild.
2,200 photos added every minute. The matchmaking service says that the number of messages sent on Tinder increases by 22% on Dating Sunday. Users respond 19.4 minutes faster than on any other Sunday in the year. And the number of likes on the app increases by 18%. As people update their profiles, about 58.7 million more likes and 11.4 million more messages will be likely to be sent on the app compared to the rest of the year. And this is especially big in New York specifically. A new study from U.S. credit unions analyzed Google Trends data to find that people focusing on their dating life was a top priority for New Yorkers going into 2024. And they also tell you, how to your picture that you want to put on the app, and like you need 30 words or less to describe who you are and your likes and dislikes, so that you don't get real, windy and a lot of verbiage going on.
I say don't trust it. If anybody's on those apps around this time, don't trust it, because you're gonna get the representative. Everybody's feeling all good for the new year and new year, new me, and that all of that. No, wait for a couple of months to see who they really are, and that's what you're gonna get. That was so negative of me. Go for it. Like that man's page tomorrow. On Sunday, do it. Just do it. Live your best life. That was such the Grinch. Like, that was just good.
And make sure that they don't know any of your former girlfriends or boyfriends in the past, so you don't have to have that. One of the stories I did want to talk about, and it's getting quite litigious. This was my story in the newsletter, and now a lawsuit has been filed. But in Texas, as we know, the governor has been quite busy, and other Republicans have been quite busy taking the migrants that have crossed the border from Mexico into Texas, putting them on buses, and in some cases planes, and sending them to the northern cities, especially those that are headed by Democratic mayors, New York City, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Denver, Colorado are those that come to mind immediately. And so the mayor of New York decided to come out with some executive orders saying that the buses could only arrive at the Port Authority. They could only come between 8:30 and 12 noon. And also they had some other things, and the bus companies would be fined, and they could possibly be sent back to Texas.
Oh, wow.
Well, the governor of Texas stepped around all of this, and they started sending them to suburbs. And they would send them, like in Chicago, for instance, they sent the buses to Chicago suburbs, and the bus driver would say, "Yeah, this is Chicago. Get off the bus. This is Chicago."
Just drop them off.
They would just drop them off.
Oh, goodness.
Or in New Jersey, they're taking them to New Jersey train stations, giving them tickets to New York City. And that way you avoid the 12:30, the 8:30 to noon
Deadline
requirement. And it's not the Port Authority, but you're sending them and saying, they're your problem.
Yeah, and figure it out.
Not the way to treat people.
No. You wouldn't even treat your dogs like that. So
Right.
So I'm not a contrarian.
I knew. But what would you have us do?
So
right?
Here's the deal. Just that. I don't have a better solution, and I don't like criticizing unless I have a solution. When you look at the immigration, it is a problem. When you look at the hundreds of thousands of people that are crossing that border into Texas, we Texans, we cannot accommodate it. I don't have an answer or a solution what to do, but I hate I'm saying this because I'm not a Greg Abbott fan. I am against him. Let me say that. I don't have another answer. And so all he is doing is spreading it around the country, because Texas should not be burdened with this problem that we have. And again, what's an answer? I mean, we can say how horrible it is, but what's your solution?
And you're right about the numbers. Officials report approximately 300,000 migrants crossed the southern border in December alone.
Shut up.
300,000.
And this is crossing it illegally.
Shut up. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
but Yolanda, my suggestion is, instead of going down like the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, took 60 Republican members of Congress. He didn't take any Democrats. There's no effort for anyone to come together in a bipartisan way and come up with a solution.
100%.
They want to.
Greg Abbott came up with a solution.
Right. But there has to be a solution from the White House to work with the House and to work with the Senate in order to stem this and to stop it.
Yep.
I don't think that the wall is the answer. I don't know what the answer is, but it's certainly
Well, if
not.
we don't know
And,
what the answer
and
is,
it
we
has,
can't criticize. Well, I don't criticize because I'm solution oriented. And again, if you're doing something, and even if I think it's bad, if I don't have a better option, I'm going to keep quiet until I come up with something.
well, that's the thing. They've had long enough to come up with something. Both Democrats and Republicans have had, and what, by coming up with something other than the Texas Republican has come up with. They've had a long enough time
Yeah.
to come up with these solutions. They
Yeah.
sent the Secretary of State down to Mexico. They sent the Homeland Security guy down to Mexico. All of them to talk. And you mean to tell
You're
me
right. So
nobody
they didn't come up with anything. So what should Texans do?
don't let them leave the table until, like they used to tell people in
Okay,
contract
but
negotiations.
they
Don't leave
did,
the table.
but they left the table, and so since they left the table, what are Texans supposed to do? You say 300,000 in 1 month?
300,000 in the month of December.
Okay,
That's wild.
And by sending them to these cities, the budgets of the city are now blown out, and the White House is not responding to these mayors because
but to
they.
be fair, it's not a Democrat or a Republican. We have
Well,
had
no, they
this
are
problem.
specifically sending them to the cities that are run by Democratic mayors.
I understand that. I understand, and that's why I made that point because somebody had commented about that. It is an American problem that has been going on for years and years and years. And there has been some very smart people that have gone to the table and sat at the table and didn't come back with a viable solution.
Right. They and even the president of Mexico is like, yeah, we'll talk about it, but I want you to talk about the relationships that we have with Cuba and Venezuela. It's like, dude, no,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
not the answer either.
Yep.
There's something going on in your country that makes people want to get away.
And
Yep.
maybe we could help Mexico. But it's not just Mexico. Maybe we
No,
could.
it's Venezuela, it's
I don't have an
Cuba,
answer.
it's
I don't know.
Haiti, all
Yep.
of the things that are going on.
Yep. But
It's,
Sybil, I am so proud of you, for real, because you are talking about real issues. So in order to come up with solutions to problems, you have to have a conversation. So even your listeners who are on this chat, they talked more about the Cat Williams situation than they did this situation.
yeah.
How is the Cat Williams situation that it is getting so much talk and nobody is talking about this?
And this is
Or nobody.
This is real life.
Or even when we were talking about this, and you know what? I'm not a regular, so I can say this, and I'm trying to run you people off. But Aprylete, when you were talking about the mental health care that was going on, it was in the stream. Nobody responded to what you were saying. All of it was the Cat Williams talk. And Sybil, I'm so glad that there are some real issues. That's why we need you, Sybil. That's why you are so important to our community, because you really address what is important to our community besides some nonsense.
And break it
proud of
down
you.
in a way that is understandable and digestible, because even this conversation for me, this is not something that is immediately in my thought process. And so learning and being with you and learning this, and it's just digestible. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And now I'm starting to think, and so I'm going to take this conversation with my girlfriends and my mother. And as I have my conversation, I'm like, did you know about this 300,000 people? Like what? And it just opens up the conversation. So I echo everything that Yolanda just said.
Well, I thank you. I thank you, and I appreciate that. But trust and believe, when the first call I got this morning was, what are we gonna do about Cat Williams? what happened to Cat Williams?
That was the first, and the migrant situation was story number one, and what you need to know.
Yeah, no. Forget about your little newsletter. What we gonna do about Cat Williams?
Oh
And
my
then,
goodness.
and then when I invited them to come on and talk about cat lips, I can't. I got something else. I was like,
Yeah.
this is your business. This is your life.
Mm.
But this is our life, and I don't want to
Amen.
push people away, but I do want to have a balance of
Yeah.
the some of the lighter, frothier subjects as well as some of the real life things.
Well,
And
you just tell us what we really need to know. When we really want to be informed and empowered, we come to you.
okay, what I really want you all to do is to make sure that everyone is registered to vote.
Right. Mhm.
We are starting on the political primary season,
Yes.
and well, actually, it's going to be a caucus in Iowa in a week, in a few days. That is January 15th, and we're going to give you a list of all of the caucuses and primaries for the primary season. And I want to make sure that everyone in your house and your next door neighbor and the folks in your church and your girls and your dudes and all of those folks and their children who are able to vote are registered. That's if I leave nothing else with you, and then we'll vote Cat Williams out of office. But but you get my point. That's really where my heart and my passion is, and I don't
Amen.
and
Good
some
for
of
you.
these other things.
We celebrate you, Sybil.
Very little I can do about it. So, let me move to entertainment, as if that wasn't entertaining enough. Um, there's going to be an interview, Jonathan Major's first major interview, if you'll pardon the pun, since his assault trial conviction is going to be with ABC News. The actor convicted of assault and harassment, as you know, in his court case with an altercation with his ex-girlfriend. He's going to be sentenced in the near future, but he is going to break his silence with ABC News prime anchor Lindsay Davis. She's really good.
Yeah, she is
And
good.
part of it's going to be an exclusive on Good Morning America on Monday, and the rest of the interview will be on her prime with Lindsay Davis Monday night at 7. And it's interesting that he is going to be interviewing with ABC. ABC is Disney, a division of Disney, and Disney is a part of the Marvel universe that fired him. So just a little.
Oh, that was deep. You went all the way there.
I know, and then came back and said, "Watch it." We're gonna close out with our jewel. And this, Yolanda, would you like to read the
Yes.
jewel? Okay.
It is important to value our friends, showing love, affection, and appreciation now. Don't
Right
put it
there.
off. We and Sybil, we celebrate you now for what you do.
Yeah.
And I celebrate you all, our love, friendship, and I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the folks that are participating in the conversations
Yes.
online too.
Sorry
I
to
really
talk
do
about
appreciate
your
that.
listeners, Sybil. I'm out.
Okay. I had them first.
Okay, but they're yours.
Okay.
They don't. Nobody comes to see me.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Oh,
Bye.
and speaking with Hi Justice, Hi True. We'll see you guys later. Aloha.
Bye.